Welcome, all teachers. I hope you're all doing well. Yes, it's time for our December Shikshana Sambrama. Let's jump straight in. Before we begin our module, we would like to make our goals and objectives clear for this module, like always. The goals of our Shikshana Sambrama program are quite clear. They are to understand experiential teaching and learning of English in our very own classrooms, and to explore experiential activities for the learning outcomes of the month for grades 4, 5, 6, and 7. We will achieve this by exploring strategies to address the weak performing National Achievement Survey learning outcomes. Yes, a few quick outcomes out of this webinar that we expect and we are hoping to achieve are to explore experiential activities on prose, poetry, and grammar so that we are enabled to teach the concepts and skills in these three divisions. We will also end up discussing and understanding concepts and skills related to language learning in depth. And yes, we will have enough scope to practice and discuss concepts and strategies to improve our English proficiency. Here is the NAS learning outcome mapped for the month of December. It is nothing but to read small text with comprehension, that is, identify main ideas, details, sequence, and draw conclusions. Out of this, the things that we have taken up for our webinar would be to deal with genders and letter writing and discuss on activities to teach these two topics. We will also explore the role of intonation and draw relevant conclusions from text, meaning reading comprehension. If we are to classify our learning outcomes into prose, poetry, and grammar, it would look something like this for this month. The prose learning outcome that we have chosen is connects ideas that he or she has inferred through reading and interaction with his or her personal experiences. For poetry, we will be dealing with identifying and narrating the theme of the poem. And for grammar, we will be dealing with two different topics, namely genders and letter writing. Let's see how. Hello teachers, welcome to another exciting module. We have many teaching concepts and ideas lined up for you. I am Mrs. Lata. Today, you will be stepping into my classroom and looking at some of the activities I have planned. Let's begin. We'll start off with grammar. Let us undertake the responsibility of teaching our children the various types of genders. To teach my learners about genders, I found a very interesting video. Let me play it for you.
Welcome to Gaurav and Vidya's special wedding at Bashi Halibetta.
Welcome everyone.
We have a very special guest list at our wedding. Come, let us introduce you to everyone.
We have invited everyone from our families. Oh, there is my Dodappa and Dodamma, or my uncle and aunt.
Oh yes, I can see my Anna and Attige, or my brother and sister-in-law.
Oh look, I see my Acha and Aji. or grandmother and grandfather.
And I see mine too. How nice! Everyone from our families are here. Let's get on with the ceremony preparations.
My father, brother-in-law, grandfather, and nephew are the ones who are accompanying me to the mantapa. All of us are of the masculine gender. We use the pronouns he and him to refer to anyone from the masculine gender. For example, my grandfather is sitting on the chair. He is unable to walk.
My grandmother, mother, sister, auntie, and niece are getting me ready with these pretty jewels and a lovely sari. We all belong to the feminine gender. We can use the pronouns she and her to refer to us. For example, my mother wore a new sari. She looks lovely. We also have some extra special guests at our wedding. Our favorite animals.
I have invited my rooster Raju.
And I have invited my hen Koli. Unlike humans, we refer to both male and female animals using the pronoun it. For example, my hen Koli laid 5 eggs. It is 3 years old.
My rooster Raju is 2 years old. It wakes us up every day.
Oh, look! Here are our other animal guests. The lion and lioness from the Bashi the Kadu jungle. Oh, and our beautiful friends, the buck and doe, all the way from Bashi Ghats. We enjoyed having you at our wedding and learning about genders. We must get on with the preparations. See you in Bashi again.
Wasn't that video great? Well, now let's look at some specific feminine and masculine words, and let's look at their pronouns. For the feminine word bride, we use the pronouns she, her.
For the masculine word bridegroom, we use the pronouns he, him.
For the feminine word mother, we use the pronouns she, her.
For the masculine word father, we use the pronouns he, him.
For the feminine word grandmother, we use the pronouns she, her.
For the masculine word grandfather, we use the pronouns he, him.
For the feminine word waitress, we use the pronouns she, her.
For the masculine word waiter, we use the pronouns he, him.
For the feminine word lady, we use the pronoun she, her.
For the masculine word gentleman, we use the pronouns he, him.
For the feminine word goddess, we use the pronoun she, her.
For the masculine word God, we use the pronouns he, him.
Now, here, let's talk about animals. For animals, we use one specific pronoun.
And that is it.
For the feminine word hen, we use the pronoun it.
And for the masculine word rooster, we again use it.
For the feminine word peahen, we use the pronoun it.
And for the masculine word peacock, we again use the pronoun it.
Here's a simple chart to understand various usage of gender. We all know that genders are broadly classified into three types: masculine, feminine, and neutral. But they have a slight shift or change in them when they turn from singular to plural. When a masculine pronoun is to be mentioned in its singularity, we will use the word he. But when there is more than one subject in there, or man or men in there, we will use the pronoun they. And the same rule applies for feminine words as well. One feminine word would have us refer it with a pronoun called she, and plural pronouns, or the plural pronoun used for feminine words, is they. But the difference with neutral genders is that the only pronoun used to address it is it. Wow, that video and those images were lovely. Such videos and images can be used to provide our young language learners with a rich language exposure, isn't it? Let's continue. But wait, how do we help the learners form connections or practice leading way for assistance? Here is a quick activity idea that can help us in this direction. It's called Match the Nouns and Pronouns. The materials you require for this activity are chit papers, pens, pictures of animals, persons, and things. Now, to begin this activity, you would need to divide your class into groups and into three groups. Yes, don't forget to name each group. Write masculine, feminine, and neutral gender names onto chits of paper and put them in three different bowls. The first bowl can contain masculine plus neutral gender names. The second bowl can contain feminine plus neutral gender names. And the third bowl can contain pictures of animals, persons, and things. Now, let me show you how I conducted this activity in my class. Feel free to do the same in your classroom. Children, I want one of you to come forward and pick a chit. Talk about the person, place, or animal that you have picked. Now, let me give you a flow of the activity. Here's how the activity flows. First, we create chits and keep them in a bowl or on the desk, just like we mentioned. Then you ask each student to come one by one and pick a chit from the group 1 set, that is the masculine set. After this, you ask the child to talk about the animal, person, or thing given in the chit in 2 to 3 sentences. Next, the child is asked to pick the right chit with pronouns from the last set and make one sentence using the same. The child can then pick a picture from the group 3 set. Repeat the same activity with the group 2, that is the feminine set of names. Now, my learners came up with some interesting answer. Do you want to listen to one of their answers? Here is Nida. Let's see what she came up with.
Doe is a female deer. It is a beautiful animal. It does not have antlers like the male buck. Good job, Nida.
Well done. You have rightly used the feminine gender and its appropriate pronoun, which is it for all animals. Now, dear teachers, this will help your children form connections and practice the genders with their respective pronouns thoroughly. Now to the most interesting part of our session, chat box questions. Teachers, buckle up and it's time to open your chat box and give us your answers. Here is the first question for the day. The sentence here displayed to you is: the author just finished writing their last novel and now dash are eagerly awaiting feedback from readers. Which pronoun do you think would be rightly used in this blank? Give us your answers on the chat box. We are getting a few answers now. I think a lot of teachers think it's they. They gets the majority votes, I guess. Okay, they wins. But let's see if someone has to say something different. We. Okay. Indra ma'am says we. Your answer quite stands out, ma'am. But nevertheless, minority is also considered here. We just don't take majority. Whoa, we have another vote for we. Okay. What else, teachers? What other pronoun do you think would be appropriate and rightly used in this sentence? I'll read it out loud again, so I think it'll be clear for all of us. The author just finished writing their last novel, and now dash are eagerly awaiting feedback from readers. All right, I'll just drop in some clues to just make this a little more interesting. Notice how the author here is neither mentioned as masculine or feminine. I think that's where all the confusion is arising from, which, yes, we've intentionally kept it for you. But I think the next confusion is whether they're singular or plural. Come on, teachers, what do you think? Is the author here singular or plural? And if so, which pronoun would you be using? So Revati ma'am says are is there, plural they is Sukumar. So giving us his answer. Shobha ma'am says are us there. Okay. Wonderful. I think we're getting a variety of answers, which means we're keeping you on your toes. And it's really nice to see you reasoning with it. All right. Plural is, I think, a majority vote. Bingo. I think Suma ma'am finally got it. There is displayed or present in the sentence, and that is what makes the author plural. Wonderful, ma'am. Now, would you like to tell us which pronoun would we now use in our blank to make it fit right in the sentence? Wonderful. So, ma'am's got it. And now they are eagerly awaiting feedback from readers. Lovely teachers, loved your participation. Keep it going. I see that some of our teachers have some questions. Dear teachers, please hold tight. We will definitely try to answer your questions at the end of the module. Now, let's continue. Yes, letter writing. Interesting topic. Now, uh, memorizing the format for letter writing might be difficult for students, isn't it? But I found a video that might make it easier to help them understand how to write a letter. Let's see.
Let's learn letter writing.
Hi everyone, welcome to Bhashahalli. Today we are going to visit someone special at Bhashahalli. That is Smita. Smita has just returned from the school and she looks very tired. Her mother is concerned.
Hey Smita, why do you look so sad?
Ma, I was playing at the school ground today and I realized there aren't many trees in our school.
Oh no, that's sad. But don't worry, you can always change that.
What can I do?
Good question. Why don't you write a letter to your principal?
A letter? Oh, but I don't know how to write a letter.
Remember, Mrs. Meena, your English teacher, taught you about letter writing?
Oh, yes.
Why don't you recall the steps and write a letter to the principal of your school and tell her your concern? This way, you can ensure she can help you increase the number of trees on the school campus.
That's a great idea, Ma.
So, Smita went to her room to write the letter.
Miss Nina taught us how to write a letter using very simple steps. Let me see if I can remember it. First, she asked us to write the date. This is the current date on which the letter is written. That goes in the top right corner of the page, like this. Let's see. Today is the 16th of December, 2023. Now, let's move on to the next part of the letter. Next, she asks us to write the true address, which is the address of the person we are writing to or the receiver of the letter. The address appears below the date on the left side of the page, like this. I am writing to the principal of Bashehalli Government School. After that, Mrs. Meena asks us to write a suitable greeting. That's right. I must write it just below the true address on the left. Like this. What can I greet her with? Respected madam or hi madam? I know. Since she is my principal, I will greet her and say dear madam. Now, after this, Mrs. Meena asks us to write the introduction. That's right. There are a few lines where we introduce ourselves and tell the receiver why we are writing the letter. Let me write them. My name is Smita. I study in Standard 3 at Bashehalli School. I am writing this letter to inform you about the lack of trees in our school campus. Great. After the introduction, we have to write the body. The body of the letter is where all the main details about the reason we are writing the letter is given. Let me explain why I am writing this letter a little more. In fact, we have learned that trees are important as they purify the air around us and give us oxygen. However, I saw that there are less trees in our school campus. I have an idea that can help us solve this problem. Each year, let us request every class to plant 5 saplings. We can motivate students to be responsible for the environment in the school. Now, after the body, we have the summary of the letter. In the summary, Mrs. Meena said you need to summarize the letter's important points. What are the important points in your letter? Yes. We would all benefit with more trees on campus. I hope that you will support us in this cause. And finally, we have the signature. We write the signature at the end of the letter at the right hand side of the body. Yours sincerely, Smita A, Standard 3. How did it go, Smita? Oh, I finished my letter, Mom. I am so glad Mrs. Meena taught us how to write a letter. Good work! Your letter is going to make a big difference to the school. I sure hope so.
Like this, Smita was able to write a letter and plant more trees in her school. Hope you also enjoy writing a letter just like Smita.
Great video, right? When it comes to informal letters, we just need to make a few small adjustments to the letter format we just learned about. That brings us to our next chat box question, dear teachers. Again, buckle up for your race on the chat box to give us your answers. Let's see what exciting answers we get to see now. So we all know that there are two different formats, formal letter format and informal letter. There are very mild differences between between the two. Here is a quick math question for all of y'all. Don't be surprised why a math question is coming in between an English module. We just thought subject integration would be good. So formal letter format minus what gives us informal letter format? What things do we need to delete or take away from our formal letter format to turn it into an informal letter format? Your time starts now, dear teachers, awaiting all of your answers. To make the question a little more simple, what things do we need to remove from our formal letter format to turn it into an informal letter format? Wonderful. Subject, says Revati ma'am and Raju sir. On point. I guess subject gets the majority of votes now. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Is subject the only thing that we need to remove from our formal letter format? Salutation. Interesting. Introduction. Date, subject. Oh my goodness, everything being removed from our formal letter now. All right. We're waiting for more. I guess we'll have a new format by the end of this chat box question now. Body. Good job, teachers. I think the math question is kind of pushing our English teachers to come up with innovative answers. So we're really excited and happy to see that. All right. Okay, so Kumar sir says that only salutation and subject will change the format. Interesting. Thank you, sir. I think you're spot on with that. Yes, salutation and subject are the only things that actually change from from a formal letter to an informal letter. Now, for an informal letter or a formal letter, there are many ways we can inspire students to write them. Try giving spontaneous and real life examples for letter writing to encourage intelligent writing among the children, such as a letter to the electricity department with respect to frequent power cuts. Before we look into what kind of writing we can give children for informal letter format, let us look at the format of an informal letter.
You're right, dear teachers. Informal letters simply start with a date. The greetings, though, are quite casual and friendly. The body of the letter remains intact and it ends with the signature. Knowing who the letter is from or to whom it is addressed to, all of those go into the envelope, but the informal letter just has these main formats on it. So, yes, you were all right. Removing formal salutations and formal subject from formal letter format gives us informal letter format. Now, moving on with our formal letter examples.
Here are some formal letter examples. A letter to the governor requesting to clean up the nearby lake. Here is an informal letter example. A letter to your childhood friend who lives in another city now. Another example of an informal letter children can write about. A letter to your cousin whose wedding you have recently missed and are attending. Such contextual understanding might help learners dig into their imaginations and emotions and pour them into words in the target language. This will definitely help learners form connections and practice on their own. Now, let's move on to prose.
Here are the chapters scheduled for the upcoming month of December. Are we going to look at all of these chapters in our module? No. We will be taking one example from one of these chapters, but the activity idea can be used for all the chapters for the upcoming month of December and the months to follow.
Every student likes a story or prose in class. But it's important for language learners to understand any story given to them, correct? Even those apart from the curriculum. Here is an interesting activity that can help young language learners develop the skill of understanding and inferring any given text. It is called the anticipation guide. Let's take where there is a will, there is a way as an example. This is from Unit 6 from the Grade 6 textbook. I want my learners to be able to understand or infer some ideas from the lesson. To do this, I use something known as the anticipation guide. Let me show you what I did. Come, step into my classroom again. These are content relevant pictures to be displayed in front of the entire classroom. I will not explain these pictures in detail to the students, but time will be given to the class to observe and reflect on their thoughts. Remember how, in our language learning process cycle, forming connections is an important part of a language learner to truly understand a language. And that is exactly what the anticipation guide will help us form in our children's minds. As a teacher, I would start the activity by saying something like this. Look at these pictures carefully, children. I will talk about each picture, but only as one sentence or one statement. I want you all to tell me if you agree with my statement or do you see something different in this picture?
Remember, teachers, before having the students do the activity, it's important for not only it's important for us to not only give out the instructions but also to demonstrate it ourselves. Something like this.
Let me start with a simple statement. I think both the women in the picture are old. Do you agree? You can either say, I agree, they both are definitely older than me. Or you can say, I do not agree. I think the woman on the wheelchair is physically challenged and old, but the other woman who is helping her is quite young. Now it's your turn. Do you agree or disagree to the statement? Look at the picture carefully and tell me. The dog is helping the woman walk.
I agree, ma'am. The dog is helping the blind woman walk. I do not agree with him, ma'am. She is not blind. ಅವಳು ಕನ್ನಡಕ ಧರಿಸಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
And you can translate and assist the learner when they express their spontaneous thoughts in Kannada. This will help them learn the language in their own words. This activity will help the children reason with their prior knowledge and then connect the same to the chapter at hand. This also helps the language learners think about the given context and express their thoughts in the target language. But not in a manner that is learned and memorized word to word. No, this is out of their own minds and feelings.
Chat box time again, teachers. Now we're going to try out the anticipation guide activity with all of y'all. What we want you to do is
Look at the image about to be displayed carefully, as you might be asked questions. The challenge is that it will be shown only for a short period of time.
your time starts now. All right, teachers. Now that we've shown you the picture and we know that it was just for a few couple of seconds, let's try and check your observation skills and inference skills as well. So here is the statement for all of y'all to agree or disagree with.
Do you agree with the statement? This is a picture that was taken at night.
What do you think, teachers? You were shown a picture. It was displayed on the screen for a couple of seconds. And the statement that we're now making is that that picture was taken at night. Ideally, if this was to students, we would stop here with just agreeing or disagreeing. But we want you all to tell us why you agree or why you disagree. All right. So Revti ma'am disagrees with the statement and says this is not a picture. It is a painting. Wonderful, ma'am. A lot of disagreements there as well. But teachers, I think we'd request you all to tell us why you disagree. If you agree, then why? If you disagree, then why? Let's try and see an example. The example is that I agree that this picture was taken at night because it was quite dark in the forest. All right. Suma ma'am also agrees by saying because it might be taken on a full moon day. All right. So you think the light and the darkness is because of the full moon? Wonderful, ma'am. That's a beautiful inference. Saubhagya ma'am says she disagrees because it may be a dense forest. You never know when it's dark in a dense forest. Wonderful. Again, I see a lot of just disagree, I agree statements. I would like to see a little more details in there. Amreen ma'am says it may be taken in night time. A maybe statement is given now. I think I should make it clear. We either agree or we disagree. If you do agree, then why? What did you see in the picture that said that or that proved that it was night or that proved that it was not night? Not during the night, at least. Chances of a dense forest. My goodness, teachers are all detectives here. I didn't think of that when we chose that picture for sure. All right, I agree, says Yoga Narasimha sir. But again, a lot of agree is coming our way. I think we'd like to see a few disagree and a few statements on why you agree or disagree. All right, I think we'll end with one of a statement which says that I disagree with this statement because the forest was dense, yes, but I agree with this statement because it was dark, or I disagree with this statement because I saw a little bit of sunlight and not moonlight. That's the kind of variety of answers or inferences that one can have just from one picture. Padmini ma'am says, or even it can be taken at the time of dawn or dusk. Wonderful. Just the slim sliver of light, a few rays might actually indicate that it's either during sunrise or sunset. Wonderful. All right, teachers, moving on. Wonderful job, though.
So you have been able to reason with us very well, dear teachers, and very articulately. And you were able to tell us if you agree why, and if you disagreed, why not.
We would encourage that you do the same in your classrooms. Don't stop with just a yes or no or an agree, disagree kind of activity. Ask your students why not. Here is an anticipation guide format that you could all use in your classroom when it comes to higher grades, if need be. So in this format, you can either draw this table on the board or give it out as sheets to the children. Use the pictures right from your textbook. Write a few statements saying that the picture on this particular page, this is the statement. And ask the students why they agree or disagree with that statement. Just for context setting, this is a wonderful activity for children to brush their prior knowledge. And yes, dear teachers, We promise to send out a Wonder Bowl prose narration video soon as a prose resource for all of y'all, which will shortly be available on both YouTube and Teachopia. Now, finally, let's move on to poetry. Here are the poems for the month of December. Again, are we going to use all of these for our module today? No, we will just be using one example for giving you an activity idea, but the same activity idea can be used across these chapters, across these grades. Here is a poem from grade 4, If I Could Fly. I'm sure you all remember the poetry intonation activity that we conducted a couple of months ago. Feel free to go back to Teachopia and look for this resource to teach your children on the intonation of poetry. Today, we are going to work on identifying and narrating the theme of the poem using intonation. Now, we need to first explain the theme of the poem using some important words. For example, this is how I introduce the poem to my class. If I Could Fly is a poem about a child's wish or dream. Can you all share a wish or dream you have in your heart with the class? I wish I could run as fast as a cheetah, ma'am. Oh, I wish I could be invisible sometimes, ma'am. Wonderful. I also have a wish. I wish I could have a magic paintbrush and draw or paint at any place and make it real. I could visit all my favorite places there. That is such a beautiful wish. Close your eyes and imagine the child in the poem reciting the poem to you as, as all her friends. I want you to listen to this carefully as the poem is being read out for you. I also want you all to observe if the girl who is reading the poem is happy, sad, angry, or confused about her dream. ಈ ಪದ್ಯವನ್ನು ಓದುವಾಗ ಗಮನವಿಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಆ ಹುಡುಗಿಯು ಖುಷಿ, ದುಃಖ, ಕೋಪ ಮತ್ತು ಗೊಂದಲದಲ್ಲಿರುವುದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು.
If I could fly, if I had a pair of wings with which to fly, I'd soar straight away up into the sky. I'd carry a brush and paints and colors bright, so I could paint every fluffy cloud in sight. I'd paint them purple, yellow, and green. They'd be the prettiest you've ever seen. I would paint rainbow in the sky every single day, so I can watch them when I work and play.
I think the girl is excited about her dream. But that is a very jolly girl. Give some time to the students to reflect on what they've just heard their teachers and then prompt them towards discussion. Children, why don't you tell your friends what you think? Do you think the girl was happy or excited?
I think she's happy.
I think she's a jolly girl.
Now, let's listen to tone 2.
Ready? Of the same poem, of course. If I could fly, if I had a pair of wings with which to fly, I'd soar straight away up into the sky. I'd carry a brush and paints and colors bright, so I could paint every fluffy cloud inside. I'd paint them purple, yellow, and green. They'd be the prettiest you've ever seen. I would paint rainbow in the sky every single day so I can watch them when I walk and play.
That is quite important to recite the same poem with different tones. Reflection time now. Take some time to think of what the girl is feeling now and how different it is from the last time. The girl is not happy now. The girl sounds a little sad. Then, for discussion. The girl is not very happy about her dream, I guess.
Yeah, she sounds a little sad.
See how the same poem can change. See how the same poem changed in meaning every time I read the poem differently?
Which one is the correct one, ma'am?
The poem is a happy poem. So, which voice tone should we use to read this poem?
The first one seems correct to me.
This is how we help the children identify the poem with the help of tone. Giving out the theme of the poem through just the title is one thing. Helping them realize what the emotion behind the poem is using tone is a whole different experience. And that is exactly why tone is very important when we recite a poem. It helps us understand the theme and the intent of the poem better. In this manner, students can be helped to form connections in their minds using their own experiences as a context. Here's to the last chat box question, dear teachers. We hope you all have your ears ready to listen to the poem again, but with a different tone, of course. The question that you need to keep in mind while listening to the poem or the poetry recitation is what is the emotion of the person reciting the poem?
If I could fly, if I had a pair of wings with which to fly, I'd soar straight away up into the sky. I'd carry a brush and paints and colors bright, so I could paint every fluffy cloud inside. I'd paint them purple, yellow, and green. They'd be the prettiest you've ever seen. I would paint rainbow in the sky every single day, so I can watch them when I work and play.
What do you think, teachers? All right. Revti ma'am has pounced with her answer by saying anger. All right, wonderful. Good job, ma'am. Vedavati ma'am says cry. Okay, that's such a wonderful insight now. Saubhagya ma'am also feels that she is in an angry mood.
Well done, ma'am. Ah, Nanjunda Swami sir says that she's sad. Quite insightful too, sir. Thank you. Wow, this is deep. Rama Bhai ma'am says that she's in pain. Oh my goodness. Okay. Amreen Banu ma'am says she's in a sad mood. All right. Jyoti ma'am feels like she's unhappy. Very nice. Mamta ma'am says creative mindset. Okay. Creativity was probably displayed through the different tone. Good, good insight, ma'am. Nanjanda Swami sir has got the point. He says the girl is in a hurry. She's wanting to go somewhere. Quite interesting, sir. Tanuja ma'am again says that she was in a sad mood. Very well done, dear teachers. We're quite impressed by the variety of answers that are coming our way. And we hope you enjoyed this activity because we surely did. And we hope that your students also enjoy this activity while you're doing this in the classrooms with every poem, with every little emotion that the poem carries.
If I could fly.
And yes, another poetry resource that will soon be available for all of y'all is a poetry recitation video on Abu Ben Adam. It will shortly be available to you all on Teachopia and our YouTube channel. So, talking about a lot of Teachopia resources, I think it's quite important for us to try and see how we can navigate our way through this app because this is our app, our one stop solution and resource for every prose, poetry, and grammar video that you would require in your classrooms. So, here it goes. To access our grammar resources, you will need to download our Teachopia app, get into the home page. At the bottom of our home page, you will have three icons, namely home, content, and training. When you click on the content button, you will be led to curricular and other content. For grammar videos, you will need to click on the other content section. And the first subheading that would appear you while you do so is English skills building activities. Under that, a blue video icon will lead you to our grammar sets. Every month, we upload grammar sets in which grammar videos are uploaded and accessible for all of y'all, which you can use for your preparation of teaching these concepts in the classroom, or you can play them out in the classrooms as per your children's needs and syllabus. We leave that to your discretion. When it comes to prose, though, the path is a little different, but it is going to first lead you to the home page. Content, you will have to stick on to curricular content section. Now choose your grade and subject matter, which is English in this case. You will be led to all the chapters that are available or been put into your syllabus and your curriculum. Clicking on the chapter that you require would lead you to many files. So everything that is in chunks is a lesson plan. And if you would want to utilize our prose narration video, you will need to click on the explainer videos icon and our prose narration audio visual will be ready for you there. When it comes to poetry, though, the pathway is different. As for our prose section, click on the content section, curricular content, select your subject and grade, choose your poem of preference. And here you will have two different kind of resources. Audiovisual resources is quite the same for all poems across all grades. We have an intonation activity that is given to you as an example video. The pitch and intonation that we use in that video is something that is applicable across grades and across all poems. For our prose narration or prose or poetry recitation video, though, you will need to click on the explainer videos icon and access it for preparation or for classroom transaction. Thank you, teachers, for joining us, and I hope you all had an enriching learning experience.